Girl, come on. Gotta dance to the beat. 'Cause on the dance floor is where we'll be. Show me what you got. Gotta feel the groove.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up.
Right now the party's wasted. There's nothing much to do. But once the groove is started, tell me, what do you have to lose? Just look into my eyes, girl, as we glide across the room. And what to my surprise now, the beat takes hold of you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really moving. Time to get your body moving. Gotta get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up.
Tell the DJ play the whispers. Rock steady in the mood. Put on Earth, Wind and Fire. Tonight we're gonna groove. Show me how you do the four corners. Electric slide or two. Hit the bus stop or do the bunny hop, baby. It's really up to you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really grooving. Time to get your body moving. Gotta get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up.
Now 2020 hasn't been the best year of all times. We've been dealing with death, the pandemic, racism, bad policing, and all the bad rhymes. But like Uncle Snoop once said, if you're breathing, you're achieving. So if you're ready, I need you all to get on up. Are you ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Get your butt on the dance floor. 5 and 6 and 7, 8. This jam we appreciate. We're gonna slide and step on the beat. On the dance floor is where we'll be.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up
And move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up.
Baby, gotta get on up. Come on, baby, gotta get on up. Baby.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up.
Check out my latest book, The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby Jr., The Destruction of Due Process in America. For approximately 2 years now, I have gone on a painstaking quest to investigate the rise and fall of an American icon, Bill Cosby. In the mid-1980s, there was not a star that was higher than Cosby. Advertisements with Coca-Cola, Jello, Kodak, along with the #1 television show for 5 straight years in a row. Nice. Was must-see TV on NBC. Cosby resurrected the genre of the traditional family sitcom that was once thought dead by television critics. He did this as a Black American with an all-Black cast and showed mainstream network executives in white America that it was possible to be successful without showing the worst in people. He also demonstrated the power that television had, as it can make younger people dream to be the best that they can be. However, like many celebrity stars, unfortunately, they all come crashing down, sometimes by their own fault, others not so much. In this book, I attempted to highlight certain things. We go in depth into both of his trials in 2017 and 2018, respectively. What if I told you that these criminal trials were politically motivated by an overzealous district attorney? Would you also be shocked to learn that attacks on Mr. Cosby did not start in 2014, but also in the 90s, not long after his attempted quest to purchase a major network? From where did all of these allegations of sexual misconduct come from? Were the accusers telling the truth? In the 2 years of research, with some help from others interested in learning the truth and facts about this case, we discussed both the legal reasons why his prosecution and trial were illegal, unwarranted, and also the possible personal motive to why it occurred. Most importantly, we warn about the dangers of prejudice and why trial by social media, or mainstream media rather, should never be the norm. All this and more in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby Jr., The Destruction of Due Process in America. Available on Amazon this fall in Kindle and paperback format. Whoever you Whoever you are, wherever you are, hope you are blessed and doing safe. Ladies and gentlemen, greetings, family. Of course, I'm tuning in. You see me without the glasses off today. But if you're looking for some opportunities, particular advertisement opportunities, then look no further at the link at the bottom to my email address. You can hit me up for advertisement opportunities. We are supporting and promoting your businesses here on this channel. You can also, if you would like to donate and subscribe to our Patreon, a link is at the bottom as well. So you have multiple ways in which you can advertise with the platform by emailing me when we go on do our live stream. You also have access to premium content, those that want to see premium content that you will not find here on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, as I am suspended probably by now. You guys can check out the Patreon at link at the bottom. But advertisement opportunities, definitely email me, gavin.grich1@gmail.com for rates. And for the Patreon, it is the same as the YouTube channel. It is channel gboot2786. All right, I'll holla. Peace. All right, what's up, family? We started in backwards order tonight. Started all off for Halloween. So, what's up, family? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Oh, come on in, come on in. This has been another edition. It is another edition of Kevin Sharp Presents Random Topic Tuesdays. We're gonna go ahead and get started. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button, ladies and gentlemen. Thank y'all for tuning in. Smash up the likes. Smash up the likes. Smash up the likes right now. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button. We got a lot to get into, so I'll get started with it. Hope everybody's had a great weekend. So, uh, one of the biggest news, well, there's several news stories I want to begin with. I'll start with Kanye right now. And I have this Kanye West uses more partnerships. Stacy Abrams, Rick Stellato, Florida rapper Spinabenz,
putting on all charges based on his rap lyrics and another school shooting that has taken place. Uh, so let's start with Kanye. Obviously, we have been, and we've been talking about him for a while. It has been reported that several part companies who Kanye has done business with have cut ties with him over his reported anti-Semitic remarks. And and of course, this comes in the wake of the remarks made on NORE, talking about not only George Floyd but also remarks even before that when he was talking about Diddy going death penalty. And if anyone remembers that I talked about this before, your Ari Emanuel, who is the brother of the former mayor of Chicago, Emanuel, also in the finance of Barack Obama, made an argument that Kanye West's businesses or business partners should stop working with him. Now, it's very interesting that he said that, and he said that back on October 20th, which was only about 5 days ago. All of a sudden, many of his business partners have pulled out with them, the latest being Adidas, as well as being dropped by his agency, CAA. He's also lost his attorney. He's not allowed, of course, to post on social media, on Instagram or Facebook, on Twitter. His accounts have been suspended. Uh, so he has lost a lot of uh, deals that he has had in place. Now, Ari Emanuel is the CEO of William Morris Together, which is a talent agency. Now, even Howard Stern, so this is what Tariq Nasheed was talking about on his show. I'm just looking at this. I'm not going to play it because TMZ always copyright shit, but according to what Howard Stern said, he compared Kanye West to Hitler. Now, I'll talk about Howard Stern in a minute because he should shut up, especially when it comes to saying hateful things. He built his career on hateful stuff, on shocking, just to shock the audience and get raped. He's a shock jock. A lot of people doesn't like that term, but that's exactly what he was, especially back in the day. I remember Howard Stern coming up. He had a show on E. Now E is Angela Size House, but I remember when E used to have all types of crap on their network. But I want to play this now because this is coming from CNBC. And Kanye West has his business deal has been terminated. The Gap and Foot Locker have also pulled Yeezy products because his name now is Ye, but they've pulled all of his products.
But whether there's a way for them to
And
continue to sell product
go
that
on.
It is official.
But it's important to listen to this. Now, this is business wise what has happened. Now, pay very close attention to what you see in this article. By the way,
This
this
has
is fair
terminated
use.
its partnership with Ye immediately. That's the artist, of course, formerly known as Kanye West. The company saying that it completed a thorough review and decided to end production of Yeezy brand products and stop all payments to Ye and his companies. It's been a long time coming. You can see the stock's reaction down 4.1% because, again, this is a partnership that is a pretty substantial one for this company. I think it's somewhere between 8.5% and 10%.
It says it's between 8.5% and 12% of Adidas's stock, their value, its company. The value, Kanye West's value to that company is very real. And on doing the right thing, that's what they believe that they are doing, Adidas is losing money. Now, I have the number right here for you all. Someone had posted this. Adidas is set to lose. Hold on, I'm trying to find it. I've got it right here. According to Forbes, it says Adidas stands to lose, you ready? $650 million after dropping Kanye's Easy line, right decision, analyst says. So they are bleeding money as a result of this.
Adidas's line revenue comes in from the Yeezy products. And so this is going to be a big shift for them and something they will have to adjust with.
I was trying to think whether they could pull off some kind of, not a compromise, but whether there's a way for them to continue to sell product that either is not branded Yeezy but looked like Yeezy. I mean, they
That's
sort of have a
what they've
look.
been trying to
And then
figure
the
out the last
question is,
couple of
and then the
weeks.
question is whether anyone would buy
Right.
said product. Because I mean, I don't know what I'd be fascinated to know, like walking into a Foot Locker.
I don't even know who was buying his products. This stuff looks like shit.
Is if people over the last
Oh,
2
well.
weeks were actually buying these products. I actually bet you a lot of people were, interestingly enough.
Well,
Meaning, like, I'm not sure.
Is this all revenue loss for why the stock is down, or did they wait so long as reputational damage?
Well, that would have been kind of cumulatively
on
over the
its
last
way
couple
down.
of weeks, right?
Well, so that's interesting. Okay, so
Look at where
So
the stock
I
has
love wearing Stan Smith sneakers. Historically, those are Adidas sneakers. Would I not buy an Adidas sneaker now because I thought they took too long? I mean, that's like, but this is part of what the whole conversation becomes, right? I don't know.
Well, now this is very frivolous, but now why is it Yeezy if it's Yay?
Oh, instead of Yee.
So I don't, the whole thing is, I can't believe that. There's a lot of ramifications. That's obviously not one of them, but right? Because I got corrected. I used to call it Yee, but
Right.
his new name is not Yee. His new name, and we actually are using that terminology. The artist. I thought that
threw
was
that
a
in.
joke.
That was not I added
It's
that.
really,
Because I don't think everybody necessarily knows Yay.
But I don't
To our
it's
audience.
not Yee.
So
It's
we-
Yeezy.
But are you going to hold his comments now against Adidas? That's the question.
For a large while,
I'd like to hear what the company
and
has
you
to
see
say.
drugs, I mean, they go right to the
The history.
the German history of
World
Adidas.
War II.
Right,
Absolutely.
they go right there. So,
Germany. That's what it is.
Because they were actually clothing the Hitler Youth at that point. I mean, it was a close affiliation.
Now you heard that. Now that is actually true. Adidas, I had read this. Adidas had been the sportswear, and this is even on JTA.org, Jewish Telegraphic Agency, has some Nazi history. They were dressing the youth, the Hitler Youth. Now, they say this Adidas really have Nazi origins, yes, but its founding predates the Nazis' rise. The company was founded in 1924 in Weimar, Germany, as the Gebrüder Dassler Fabrik, or GEDA for short, by cobbler's brothers Adolf and Rudolf Dassler. Based in the Bavarian town of Herzogenaurach, the Dassler brothers quickly made a name for themselves by pioneering some of the earliest spiked shoes drilled through with nails to help runners on even terrain. By May 1st, 1933, with the company's fortunes on the rise and Hitler having just assumed power in Germany, the Dassler brothers formally joined the Nazi Party, according to journalist Barbara Smith's book Sneaker Wars: A History of Adidas. And I have documentation on that where I'm reading from. You can read this article right here, coming from JTA. So Adidas does have ties with that. Here's how the factory, which was Adidas, was saved during World War II. It says when the Air Force took over, the United States Air Force took over the Nazis' Fischer-Norach Air Base. American troops who were fans of Jesse Owens bought Dassler shoes and helped spread the word about the company back home. So Jesse Owens actually was probably the first athlete to get an endorsement. I'm looking here. He wore Dassler shoes. And according to this, Owens was popular with both Germans and Americans. and Adidas was able to convince him to don the company's spiked shoes during his medal ceremony. So that's interesting. Now, I'm going to finish playing that. These people seem to be proving A's point. Now, I got more to add. Now, they're saying that Kanye's stock, remember we were talking about his billionaire status. They're, according to even TMZ, they're saying that because of a deal with Adidas, and they put it, his status as a billionaire has now changed, and his net worth now went from 11 billion to 400 million, which the point when I was that Kanye, your net worth and what they tell you your worth is not the actual. So Cheryl says my audio is off. Y'all hear me? Choppy. All right, let me leave this video and come back. Hold on. All right, let's see if that's better. I'm gonna finish playing this audio from MSNBC.
And then the two
CNBC.
brothers had a falling out.
And
One of
that's
them wanted
why,
to create a
and
book.
that's why it was so surprising it took them so long to actually get there.
Exactly.
Right.
And which is why you nip this in the bud. Look,
Frankly,
as quickly as you possibly.
it should
It's
be
zero
too
tolerance.
long.
Should be zero
It
tolerance.
took Balenciaga
They
too long.
should have done that. Adidas should have figured out zero.
Right.
Tolerance. There's no, it's not 0.1, 0.2.
But I also think there's a mental health issue, and that's I think another thing that.
Adidas?
What'd you say?
No, I know.
No,
But-
for him.
Well, there's
Trying
not
to
at
figure
the,
out what's going on.
they should be able to, whether it's mental health or not, doesn't matter where it came from with him.
Condemn it.
Right.
The company that's in debt with him needed to figure that out quickly.
All right, we'll talk a little bit more about this story. It is breaking news just happening.
So, audience up. Someone said Danielle, I think, said they're proving his point because they seem obsessed with him. Try not to get my, because they all know they already took the backup channel down. I can't broadcast and post. But there is some truth. I will say this. Oh, phone's on. I think this is better. All right. Hello? I think this is a little better for me. There is some truth to the matter that certain groups, Jewish groups, I'll just say it, Jews, do have a lot of I'll say this, they have more influence than black people. How does that sound? They certainly have more influence than blacks. I would even go as far as saying they have more than Hispanics, Asians, and other groups, because they have been in positions of power for a very long time. Now, that is not anti-Semitic that I am saying this. I'm basing it off of history. I'm basing it off the fact that Hollywood was founded by Jewish immigrants. This is documented. The most prolific songwriters, Irving Berlin, for instance, a Russian Jewish immigrant. He wrote all of the songs for an American holiday, for all your American holidays. He wrote White Christmas. He wrote Happy Holidays, Easter Parade, Putting on the Ritz. He wrote over 1,600 songs. The Christmas by Jewish songwriters. Interesting enough, Sammy Kahn, Jill Stein wrote Let It May, and Robert Wells and wrote the Christmas song, Chestnuts Roasting on an Open Fire. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Holly Jolly Christmas, Jewish songwriter himself, Johnny Mark. So that, I think it's interesting. I don't think it's something to say the Jews own Christmas too. Somebody will say that. But I don't think it was a smart move. here's the thing with Kanye. All this time, Kanye was talking about talking this and that. Are there some black banks he could have? So J.P. Morgan Chase has disassociated itself from you. Can you go to Chase Bank? Can you go to a black bank and put your money in? Were you doing that? Uh, did Kanye do that? He talked about his ideas being stolen. Well, did you get some brothers and sisters who could help you with your ideas? You were dropped by your attorney. Was that a black attorney you had? See, if you're going to war, you have better have your army and navy with you. And this is a lesson I want black people to learn this, especially people on my channel understand. You're playing when you are at war, you better come prepared. Now, I don't think Kanye is going broke. And look at how quickly they're talking about he lost his billionaire status. I want that to be a lesson. So he wasn't making this was his potential to make. He didn't make this amount of money that I initially suspected that he was a billionaire. They're saying, how decides a billionaire status just like that after Adidas canceled their deal? Now, you also got to realize this is not about, and you read this has nothing to do with his remarks about George Floyd. It's about attacking Jewish people, the Jewish community. So he has they say his riches are coming from select few sources, including real estate, liquid cash, his music catalog, and a 5% stake in Kim Kardashian's Skims brand. So he's still a multi-millionaire. And how much does he spend in the black community? You see, if Kanye would take the amount of time that he's opening his fat mouth, and this is my problem with him, he's talking about one group. And let me say this, there are some things he has said in the past I've agreed with. A broken clock hits the right time at least twice in a day. But you also are alienating, and this is what a lot of these celebrities do. People on blacks on the left and blacks on the right. Like Brother Dwan B said, he dislikes Herschel Walker, and he doesn't dislike or hate, or he doesn't dislike Herschel Walker as much as he dislikes Raphael Warnock. He doesn't care for both of them. He said they serve two masters. One's a Democratic shield, the other's a Republican shield. Two different masters. But Kanye doesn't have that support like most celebrities like other celebrities that have gotten in trouble. We've come to the age of, Michael Jackson had a fan base. He had a universal fan base, not black, not white, just a complete fan base. Black people still supported him in some way because while some black people disliked things he was doing to his face and so forth, we also did not like how he was treated by the police. Same thing with OJ. We didn't like OJ per se, but we saw it as us because we knew what the police likes to do to men. Now, Bill Cosby, that was another issue. And I got to check out the video, but Professor Black Truth said, is Kanye West America's new Bill Cosby? All of this, though, I think that is the wrong question. You should ask, is Kanye West going to be the next Jack Johnson? Because that all started with him. But I get the point because all of this does date to, all of this, especially in the last 5 or 4 years with Me Too, since they get a Negro every week, every month, somebody does something. And Kanye just said something stupid. But you got to be you if you are. I want people to understand. You also got to know how to control. Be careful of having diarrhea of the mouth because what you say can be used against you. Like I tell my clients all the time, invoke your right to remain silent. Now, I'm not saying don't speak your mind when you've been wronged. Do it, but if you are not in a position of power, and clearly Kanye, he's not necessarily in that position of power, like the song he made, because he could still like the difference. Musk, Elon Musk, Tesla. I don't know if you know this, but Tesla has been in trouble in the news with lawsuits involving racial discrimination. Elon Musk is not going to be hurt over that. Elon Musk is a multi-billionaire. Even with all of those lawsuits, he's still able to maintain a vast fortune, talk all the shit he wants, owns and controls Twitter, and do all of this because he's a billionaire. He owns. Kanye didn't own. You have you, but he does have his own brand. The Yeezys, yeah, owns that name. So, but he had a partnership deal with Adidas, it seems, to create that. He doesn't have a factory and he's building this stuff. See, once you have something, especially be careful when you are with these groups, you're biting the hand. Kanye bit the hand that was feeding him. That's essentially what happened. But at the same time, I got to call out, I don't like it when they game. I don't like to, I'm not going to keep dissing the man. And I don't like going after him, like talking about it, because some groups, and I'm not saying this group, and Jewish group in particular, but I notice people, I'm talking in general, people from other communities, whether it be Jewish, whether it be Hispanic, whether it be Arab, Asian, I see discrimination, racism take place against my people every day. You had a black woman in that restaurant, in a bar, who was complaining about her service, and some Asian bar owner threw a drink in her eye and blinded her. Where was the hate crime charge for that dude? Where was the battery charge? I don't think he was ever prosecuted. I don't think he was arrested. You don't hear that from them. These city council persons in Los Angeles that discriminated against blacks. It's not just what they said about the kid. Forget that. It's what they did as a council prohibiting money. See, I asked the question we need to know. What did these Hispanic members of that community think do in terms of, forget what they said, in terms of monies? Community allocation. That's what the concern should be. But we didn't hear people from, at least I didn't, major artists like Fat Joe or Jennifer Lopez, Christina Aguilera for that matter. We hadn't heard them speak out against them for what they said about black folk. They haven't said it. And you know what? They're not going to. People with money don't talk shit. They don't want to mess up their job. They don't want to mess up their lifestyle. Own something, people. We all got to get in a position to own something. So when you have what they call FU money, you'll be able to walk out the door when you talk that shit, especially if you're working for somebody. Like John Goodman told Mark Hamill and Mark Wahlberg in the movie The Gambler. He said, "You got fuck you money." Excuse my expression, but that's what he was saying. And basically, I don't need your money. I can take this FU money. I need to keep working this job where you discriminate against me or treat me like crap. I can go somewhere else. That's FU money. What do you guys think about Yeezy or Ye losing his partnerships, his Chase Manhattan Bank closing his accounts and so forth? That's interesting. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Next matter I got is another school shooting, sadly, that has taken place out in St. Louis. On yesterday, a 19-year-old gunman by the name of Orlando Harris, who graduated from the same high school, shot and killed two people, and this occurred at the Central Visual and Performing Arts High School He actually graduated last year and came into the school, according to Police Commissioner Michael Sack, with an AR-15 style rifle and over 600 rounds of ammunition and more than a dozen high-capacity magazines. Harris died at the hospital after a gun battle with officers. According to investigators, Harris drove to the school and had a note in some of his belongings, in one of his belongings, and said the following quote: "I don't have any friends. I don't have any family. I never had a girlfriend. I've never had a social life. I've been an isolated loner my entire life," the note said. This was the perfect storm for a mass shooter, according to Police Commissioner Sack. Now, I don't know too many details about it, but let's go to ABC 7, which is in Chicago. They did a clip on this. This is fair use, by the way.
Motivated the gunman who opened fire at his former school in St. Louis. Today, police shared this picture of an AR-15 style rifle Orlando Harris allegedly used yesterday at Central Visual and Performing Arts High School. They say he brought more than 600 rounds of ammunition and a note.
He wrote, quote, "I don't have any friends. I don't have any family. I've never had a girlfriend. I've never had a social life. I've been an isolated loner my entire life. This was the perfect storm for a mass shooter."
Student Alexandria Bell and teacher Jean Kushka were killed. 7 other students were wounded before police shot Harris to death.
Okay. So Alexandria Bell, who you saw, was 15. The teacher, Jean Kushka, 61. They say Kazuka died protecting her students, according to one of her colleagues, Christy Faustich. According to reports, there have been 67 shootings that have happened on school grounds this year. Now, of Oakland County prosecutor Karen McDonald, who had prosecuted a teen for killing 4 students last fall, said she was no longer shocked to hear of another school shooting. The fact that there is another school shooting doesn't surprise me, which is horrific. We need to keep the public and inform the public on how we can prevent gun violence. It is preventable, and we should never allow that to be something we should have to live with. Well, here's the thing. They already have laws on the books that prevent kids from obviously getting a firearm. You can't buy a firearm if you're under 18. You certainly can't buy a concealed handgun until you're 21. You can buy a shotgun and rifle when you're 18, and that's because those are long barrel weapons. They are visible, whereas a pistol can be concealed. I would also point out that in every school right now, it is a law. There are laws on state books, especially here in Louisiana, but federal law, that you can't bring a firearm in a public school. Guns are not allowed in schools. We know that. That's against the law if you bring that in there. Even if I have a concealed weapon, I can't bring it. But Danielle said there have been some conflicting stories that emerged, according to Queen Shakur. Shout out to Queen Shakur. You're probably right. I'm sure there always is. And let me say this: these are all allegations, because I don't know if he did this or not. I'm only going off what the police says and what's reported in the news. Now, unlike what happened out in Texas this past summer, the officers, according to this, rushed in about 4 minutes after the shooting started. Remember what happened with the schools out in Texas? With the kids and the officers that were scared to go forward. Once they got inside, one of the officers sanitizing their hands. the police went in there ready to fight, according to this. They say that everyone went into drill mode, turning off the lights, locking doors, and huddling in corners so they couldn't be seen, according to math teacher David Williams. And the police, according to this, the police engaged the shooter on the third floor. It's not as saying the school was closed and doors were locked. The security staff did an outstanding job. So there are security guards there, but according to the police commissioner, the school, all of the public safety security officers are not armed. So all of them are not armed. I gotta say this: they actually did a great job. If all of this is true, in preventing further deaths. I know just losing 2 is enough, but they didn't wait that long in order to engage this shooter. Once they heard there was an accusation, there was a drill that was put in place. The people went in, the kids and the staff in school, and followed the protocol, and the police came in and took care of the shooter. But I want this also everybody to know about this as well, is that if you haven't figured it out, police officers cannot, will not, do not often stop crimes. They only respond after a crime has been committed or is in the process of commission. So your best bet in protecting your life against a rapist, a burglar, an active shooter, you got to look out for yourself. You got to be on alert. You just stay ready. Stay ready so you won't have to be ready. It's the old saying. I'm still saddened to hear of these 2 deaths. Certainly, any innocent loss of innocent life is mourned and sad, and I feel especially for that 15-year-old, her parents, and even for the teacher, Miss Dushka, I believe is her name, Dasuka. I feel for her as well, Miss Bell, the little girl, the 15-year-old teenager. You know, may they both rest in peace. You know, there's always, when these mass shootings happen, there's always going to be conflicting stories, Danielle, that occur. So it looks like they had the SWAT team. They even had the SWAT team come in there. So police arrived on the scene and made entry 4 minutes after the call came in at 9:11 in the morning about an active shooter. Yeah. Well, they did their job this time. All right. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button, ladies and gentlemen. We want to especially thank, before I go further, I want to thank all of you all who have stayed with me through thick and thin. Shout out to my family. I want to give a special shout out to Cheryl Massey for your donation tonight. Thank you, Cheryl. See Tyree, I see Darius from Atlanta. Shout out to y'all. Vulcan. Oh, y'all. I should have at least 100 people when I go live, and I'm only getting 20. And they're ScrewTube. All right. Next thing I want to talk about, Stacy Abrams looking to get that big vote energy. Now, Stacy Abrams is running for governor, and as you know, she has been doing bad in the polls recently. However, I've heard that Georgia had they've had record-breaking turnout out in Georgia for this election, in particular early voting. And now I'm looking here, so I'm gonna play this. But Stacey Abrams, she's had people campaigning for her. She's trying to get out the vote and doing all this stuff. This actually is, she got the girl from Scandal, Kerry Washington. They got them out trying to campaign for her. Yeah, Kerry's on that Democratic crap. You got, then I saw this crap. Yellow dress girl dancing for Stacey Abrams. I'm not trying to play the. Oh, Lord. So yeah, but they had Stacey Abrams out with the rapper Lotto. So I had heard this. Now she has been in the news getting criticized because of some remarks she's also made about abortion. You know, they keep pushing this as their top issue. They keep bringing this thing up. And really, in truthfulness, that is not the major issue in this country. If you look at even the polls, and the polls can be skewed as they are, they've reported that more people, especially in Georgia, as it pertains to even the Senate race out in Georgia, the issues were, abortion was not the number one issue. The number one issue was the economy, was jobs. And so Stacey Abrams on October 19th was on Morning Joe, and she said this crap. Y'all listen to this.
To alleviate the consumer, I would assume, maybe incorrectly, but while abortion is an issue, it nowhere reaches the level of interest of voters in terms of the cost of gas, food, bread, milk, things like that. What could you do as governor to alleviate the concerns of Georgia voters about those livability, daily, hourly issues that they're confronted with?
But let's be clear. Having children is why you're worried about your price for gas. It's why you're concerned about how much food costs. For women, this is not a reductive issue. You can't divorce being forced to carry an unwanted pregnancy from the economic realities of having a child. And so it's important for us to have both and conversations. We don't have the luxury of reducing it or separating them out, but we also have to talk about what a governor can do. A governor can address housing prices. A governor can address the cost of education. A governor can put money into the pockets of everyday hardworking Georgians instead of giving tax cuts to the wealthy. That's what I talk about on the trail, and that's what's resonating. But let's not pretend that women, half of the population, especially those of childbearing age, they understand that having a child is absolutely an economic issue. It is only politicians who see it as simply another cultural conversation. It is a real biological and economic imperative conversation that women need to have.
Okay, but here's the thing. You want women to have this conversation, but in actuality, you still want the government. You don't want the government involved in it, but you do want the government involved in it. You know, one of the arguments I've seen with, especially for abortion, if you look at it, the crux of it, they're saying the government has no place telling me what to do with my body. But yet you want the government to pass laws essentially saying, take this out of my body. Now, I'm not going to get into the whole abortion debate. You've heard my comments on it, what I think of it. But I find it interesting. Now, when you look at websites like this is Jezebel, it already tells me the direction that this is going in, because they're trying to support Stacy Abrams, but really not even Stacy Abrams. They want to support. I can tell by the name of the company, Jezebel. They want to support this issue. And you look here, look what it's tied to. These are their sister groups, the Root. Oh, I don't think I have to say any more after I seen that. I didn't even know. This is what's updated here. They're trying to say, no, she didn't say it can solve inflation. No, but she damn sure say that it's part of it. She said it was an economic reality about women with children. And then on top of that, someone told me she was with Lotto, the rapper Lotto, and she showed up because Lotto, I think, was performing out in Georgia. She showed up during the concert, and they had people with posters saying "My body, my S, my P, my choice," because they bring her out there to do this. So, y'all saw this?
Over the weekend in Atlanta, she got some help anyway from gubernatorial candidate Stacy Abrams, the Democrat making an appearance while the rapper performed her pro-choice anthem, the name of which we cannot say on air. Take a look. Take a look. So here, talk about
that response. Like shivers up my spine.
Well, if anybody can get a hip hop crowd jumping, it's Stacy Abrams.
I'm turning this off. No wonder why nobody watched this. No wonder why that show is in oblivion and relative obscurity. Cheddar, I ain't never heard of. Now I recognize one of the that's old girl from BET. Yeah, I recognize her. She's an actress somewhere she was actually on a show she's on a show right now. She plays a lesbian. Hunters. She plays the girlfriend of the FBI agent. Yeah, so that's what's the protest. And the name of the song is PXSSY. She wrote that in the protest over Roe v. Wade.
I just want to remind you that you believe it's my body and my choice.
So they're making this a top priority. You go on the Democratic Twitter page. This is the top priority. Joe Biden's talking about codifying Roe v. Wade. So this is obviously a top priority for him. That's why they get Stacy Abrams to get on to go around on Morning Joe and Lotto and promote this crap. Just look at this. It says it right here.
That a woman should not have a right to an abortion regardless of the circumstances. He believes that you should not have a right to an abortion even in the case of incest and rape. Now, I investigated sexual abuse cases and rape cases, and doggone it, we are not going for that. Are we, Florida? My opponent believes that a woman.
Okay, let me say this. Even with those, well, y'all know I've already gone over the statistics, and you all know that in the case of the incest and rape, I'll just say this much, that those are very small numbers. Very, very small numbers. Most of the reasons for abortion, why it's granted, why people want it, is ultimately birth control. It's about sexual consequences when it comes down to it. But this is a top priority. Yeah, and that's the irony of it. You had the woman twerking in front of the Planned Parenthood clinic and did a song about it. Like, this is something you proud of. This is what the French toast is wrong with y'all? That's something you glorifying? If that's I can't judge and control people what they do with their bodies. Yeah, that's true. That's their business. But this is not something we should be glorifying. But this is the priority of the Democrats. The Congressional Black Caucus is pushing everybody's agenda but ours. And if I were in Georgia, I'd vote for Brian Kemp. No, Danielle, send a message. Vote for him. Vote for Brian Kemp, because this is all you talking about, Stacy. You're not talking about reparations. You're not talking about tangibles for Black Americans. Your priority is abortion, illegal immigrants, and LGBTQ, the alphabet agenda. That's all they care about? We can't get no other issues? Everything dealing with sex, got to be a priority? That's why they're going to lose. She's going to lose big. Trust me. Even with the early voting turnout, the real deal will be Tuesday, because you got to factor in. Look, I've never lived in Georgia, but I know about Cobb County. That's Cobb County. My brother lived out in there in Georgia. She not getting that. And from what I'm hearing, Atlanta is not the Atlanta of Maynard Jackson and Andrew Young. It's changed. Darius, you can verify that for me. It's not. It used to be the Black Mecca. A lot of people were going there, but it has changed in the past decade. I still got love for Atlanta, but it's changed. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button, ladies and gentlemen. We got one final topic I want to get into. Please donate to the Cash App and PayPal. Last thing I want to talk about is this. This was interesting. A Florida rapper, I believe so. She's not. She's part of it. Yeah, it's suspected. I believe. I'm not saying for a fact. I think she did say something like that, confirm something like that. But, and this is something that's going on in Atlanta too. But this Florida rapper by the name of Spinabenz, I've never listened to anything he has talked about, has been found not guilty of possession of a firearm. According to ABC News, last week a jury ruled in his favor after prosecutors based part of their evidence off the lyrics of the song My Glock. Noah Williams, which is Spinabenz's real name, was charged with possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. Prosecutors had alleged that Spinabenz's girlfriend had purchased the gun legally and bought it for him. They stated in the song that they referenced for the lyrics that Spinabenz claims my Glock cost $300, and in one line he raps about having a woman purchase a gun for him if she is over 18. This is Spinabenz, by the way. So the prosecutors were using the lyrics against them, and they pointed to it in their closing arguments and stated the date the song was released. They claim it took place several weeks after his girlfriend bought the weapon, according to WJXX. They also said that 18% of Spinabenz's DNA was discovered on the gun as well. His attorney said that this did not prove that he was in possession of the firearm, nor did he use it. Now, had he been convicted of that, he would have been facing up to 30 years in prison due to a gang enhancement law that was charged in this case. So that would have potentially doubled his sentence. Now, his attorney, David Bigney, stated his client was elated about the verdict. He stated that in the closing arguments, we discussed how artists, even though sometimes they might write lyrics based on reality, that other times they do not. And he gave an example. He said Bob Marley made a song called I Shot the Sheriff and suggested that just because he sang a song about shooting the sheriff doesn't mean that he did it. And that's a very good point. You know, there's something called artistic freedom. Artists are allowed to take artistic freedom, First Amendment, with things that they say. Remember what was going on in the 90s with songs like Cop Killer by Ice-T and F the Police by NWA, how they were being targeted by law enforcement groups, these agencies, the unions that were coming down on him, the politicians who in Congress who were making campaign ads against rappers for obscene lyrics, going after Tupac, Biggie. I remember stuff like that. Said slavery being on the ballot. I'll get to that in a second if I can, but let's go. I think we got some video footage from the trial. Spinabenz found not guilty, and y'all got to be careful. And see, here's the thing too. Everybody's got to be careful, especially rappers right now. You see what's going on in Atlanta with Fonnie Willis when she's going after all of the rap artists that are out there in ATL with their lyrics, using them, talking about gang, they're part of gangs and so forth. You got to be very careful with your words. Now they did it actually in Baton Rouge a few years back with Lil Boosie. I remember when Hilla Moore was using, I believe, his rap lyrics when they were charging him with first-degree murder. And what they got Boosie on was trying to say that he had ordered, I don't believe he killed the person, but he had allegedly ordered a hit. And they would use that. So they like using that now against rappers and so forth, but you got to be mindful of it.
Division CRH, State of Florida versus Noah Raekwon Williams. Verdict with the jury finding the defendant not guilty. So say we all done. Duval County, Court person, October 20th, 2022. Ms. Williams, would you poll the jury? Yes. Ms. Brown, the true and correct verdict? Yes. Ms. Muhammad, the true and correct verdict? Mr. Ernest, true and correct verdict? Yes. Ms. Reedy, true and correct verdict? Yes. Ms. Goodson, true and correct verdict? Ms. Bennett, true and correct verdict? Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Members of the jury, I thank you for your attention, your time this week. Serving on the jury is one of the most important things you can do as a citizen of this country. And I genuinely appreciate the time and the effort that you have given to the case. And thank you once again, and you can be discharged at this time.
So that was video from his acquittal. So obviously he would be elated. I'd be elated too. Shit, you know, I was facing 30 years, but you got to be careful with what you say. To address your question, Danielle, as best as I can, I believe what's going on is that in several states, including in Louisiana, there has been an effort to amend the 13th Amendment of the United States Constitution that banned enslavement or involuntary servitude except as a form of criminal punishment. And there's been a push, I believe, to add that to several of the states. So there's been a push to amend it. So nearly 20 states have constitutions that include language permitting slavery and involuntary servitude as criminal punishments. So now in Alabama, Louisiana, Oregon, Tennessee, and Vermont, there are questions that are going before voters today. So yes, slavery is on the ballot. So in Louisiana, for instance, and I know this attorney who wrote this, Edmund Jordan, who's a friend of mine. I haven't spoken to him in a while. He has House Bill 298, which made its way through the state capitol during the 2022 legislative session. And a lot of people are talking about it. So Amendment 7 removes language from the state constitution that allows slavery and involuntary servitude as punishment for a crime, thereby prohibiting slavery and involuntary servitude, except as it may be applied lawfully in the administration of criminal justice. But because of those exceptions, the lawmaker who originally sponsored the proposal now wants people to vote no on the amendment. So we're actually going to play this right now. This is from KSLA 12. I'll go ahead and play it.
Yeah, this one has a lot of you talking. Our Lester Dewey is here to explain this one. Lester.
Hey guys, amendment number 7 removes language in the state's constitution that allows slavery and involuntary servitude as punishment for a crime, but there are some exceptions, and because of that, the lawmaker who originally sponsored the proposal wants you to vote no on the amendment now.
House Bill 298 by State Representative Edmund Jordan easily made its way through the state capitol during the legislative session. It eliminates an exception in Louisiana's constitution allowing slavery and involuntary servitude as a punishment for a crime. It's now up to voters to put it into action, but now Jordan is crawfishing on the change.
Jordan has decided that the wording is such that it may actually do the opposite of what he intended, and he's asking people to vote against it.
In a statement to WAFB, State Rep Jordan says the way that the ballot language is stated, it is confusing. In the way that it was drafted, it could lead to multiple different conclusions or opinions. So he'd rather you vote no on the amendment so lawmakers have a chance to start over next year.
It's not a very good sign when the sponsor has to say, hey, wait a minute, let's not do this.
Political analyst Jim Inkster says the devil is in the details. He says one phrase, except as it may be applied lawfully in the administration of criminal justice, opens up a Pandora's box to a lot of things.
The amendment is such that it may, according to the sponsor, do exactly the opposite of what it was intended.
There's been some pushback from others as well. The Council for a Better Louisiana says this amendment is an example of why it is so important to get the language right when presenting constitutional amendments to voters. But the Victory Over Louisiana Violence organization is urging people to still vote yes on Amendment 7.
We believe that this is the cornerstone to the injustices that happen. We believe that this is a first step into, giving people back their individual dignity.
Louisiana is one of 5 states where slavery is on the ballot this fall. State Rep Jordan says, regardless of what happens, we're going to have to bring it back to get it cleared up either way. So this could end up being on your ballot again next year, even if it passes in 2 weeks. So when it comes to proposals ending prison labor in its entirety, that will likely still face massive opposition in the courts. Elizabeth?
All right, Lester.
Prison labor in Louisiana, yeah, I don't think they want that. Oh man, what's up, PD Chicago? So I hope that gives you an understanding, Danielle, of what's going on when they say slavery is on the ballots. But here's the thing: United States Constitution, 13th Amendment was passed. There's something in the Constitution called the Supremacy Clause. It states that the federal law trumps state law. So doesn't necessarily mean to be on the ballot. Slavery is still illegal, except for obviously in our prison system, which they have used it for. It does matter, and this is what I do encourage people to do, because I know people are saying sit out and not vote. Obviously disappointing what we have, and would not vote for some of these. I'll be honest with you, I'm not voting for some of these people either. But in terms of local and state elections, especially when there are amendments, when there are millages that are being passed, things of that nature, state rep positions, that affects you even more, city council, that affects you more than even our feds. No, the Constitution is the law of the land. That's what we have, a Unitarian law. 10th Amendment gives the states rights to make the laws as they see fit. However, that does not mean their laws trump United States laws. It doesn't. So you can't have a law supporting, although they did have it for years, but can someone right now bring a law back stating that blacks should eat in separate restaurants from whites? It wouldn't fly today. However, there are ways around it that people do, just like with segregation in our schools. Our schools are segregated already by economics. If you're black and you make less amount of money, you can't go to a certain school. And you go based off the neighborhood you're in. Remember, even when they tried to do forced integrated busing, that was frowned upon, and this was in the 70s. I don't understand. I mean, I get what Jordan was trying to do, and he is a friend of mine. But yeah, language is key, especially when it comes to these bills, guys. You gotta be careful with your language. You gotta be careful with what you say. Because I know people who go into a voting booth and honestly don't know what the hell is going on. I have to take this down. I'm sorry, y'all see me messing with this because my light, for some reason, is not working anymore. My ring light appears to be broken. Sorry, I heard something outside. All right. But what do y'all think of this? Hit the like, share, and subscribe button. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button. We're going to wrap this up. Thank you, Danielle, for your questions. Yeah, I know it can get confusing, especially, but reading it, I understand what they were trying to do, but I think he could have done a better job with it. It looks like this is not over if this passes, because he's talking about making another bill and putting it on the ballot for next year. So who knows? We're going to wrap this up, guys. We're going to wrap this up. Let's get out of here. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button, ladies and gentlemen. Please, please, please hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Let YouTube know you're in here. Let everybody know we're in here. We're hot and heavy. Thursday, I might talk about this on a little bit more on Thursday's show. Might see if I can get Edmund on to explain it for y'all. So that would be easier. Let's do this also. Please smash up the likes. I need you all to please donate, if you can, to the Cash App, PayPal, Zelle. Shout out to Cheryl Massey for donating earlier today. I appreciate it. It was well thoughtful of you. Oh, I did want to say this. I was supposed to talk about that Howard Stern thing, but I don't know if I wanted to devote more time going back to that Kanye West thing. Y'all just look up. It's always been there. Howard Stern would always do some racist stuff, racist shit. But y'all can go look that up yourself. Look at the skit he did with Whoopi Goldberg, pretending to be Ted Danson and Whoopi Goldberg, and they had Sherman Hemsley on his lap. Yeah, I didn't care for that. But I was going to talk about, we might talk about Kanye a little bit more on Thursday. If you'd like to advertise with our channel, go to gavin.grich1@gmail.com. Go to the Patreon as well. Support our Creole seasoning blend if you want some just in time for the holidays. Nonny'sCreoleBlends.com. Try it on chicken, meat, or fish. Nonny's goes great with every dish. Of course, by our music, Video Soul, which is on Spotify, Apple, and iTunes. I need you all to get that. And Gotta Get On Up, which is the theme song for our channel. All right. We're going to go ahead and wrap this up, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate it. Join me for Thursday's show. We'll have Brother Sean James on, all right? I'll holla. Peace.
Girl, come on. Gotta dance to the beat, because on the dance floor is where we'll meet. Show me what you got. Gotta feel the groove.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the.
Right now the party's wasted. There's nothing much to do. But once the groove gets started, tell me, what do you have to lose? Just look into my eyes, girl, as we glide across the room. And what to my surprise now, the beat takes hold of you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really moving. Time to get your body moving. Gotta get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the.
Tell the DJ play the whispers. Rock steady in the mood. Put on Earth, Wind, and Fire. Tonight we're gonna groove. Show me how you do the four corners. Electric slide or two. Hit the bus stop, I'll do the bunny hop, baby. It's really up to you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really moving. Time to get your body moving. Gotta get on. Move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the.
Pandemic, racism, bad policing. Like Uncle Snoop once said, if you breathe and you achieve. And so, if you're ready, I need you all to get on up. Are you ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Get your butt on the dance floor. 5 and 6 and 7, 8. This jam we appreciate. We're gonna slide and step on the beat. On the dance floor is where we'll be.
Feel the groove, get on the floor.
Get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something.
Feel the groove, get on the floor.
Get on up, baby. Yeah, gotta get on up. Come on, baby, gotta get on up, baby.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up.
How, Sway? How? How, Sway? That's it, Kanye. Your bank account is